Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This would be board number 41 from Dubious positions and how to attack them. Again, this will be a board discussing the opposite direction cannons, but it will be the deferred opposite direction cannons. The moves shown here are also quite often seen in online play if the opponent decides to go for the deferred opposite direction cannons, and this is quite a very practical board. Again, I would like to express my thanks and gratitude to Master Xiangqi and Grandmaster Xiangqi for allowing me to use their material to make this video. Thank you. So without further ado, let us begin. Central cannon. Black protects the central pawn. Now it goes to 2. And black goes for the left cannon blockade. These variations started appearing or became popular back in the 1960s. Now the best counter for red would be to simply play p3 plus 1. And now black will continue with the deferred opposite direction cannons, which is so far so good. Both colors would choose to develop the other horse, the other remaining horse as a proper horse. And in this board, red would go for the double-headed snake pawns, thus allowing for both horses to be developed. Now this is a slow-paced but very effective option for red, as both the horses are now ready to go. And in this board, we will be discussing black's r1 plus 1, which would be considered the dubious move in this position. Now the main idea behind this move was that black wanted to develop this chariot as a rank chariot so that it could move to the other flank over here and thus form a very powerful battery on this file, hoping to add a lot of pressure, hopefully with c8 equals to 7, and attack this flank. Now this is considered a dubious move. Instead, the recommended move would be to play r1 equals to 2, whereby it would effectively counter the double-headed snake pawns. So let's say red protects the cannon. Black could go for r2 plus 4 or r2 plus 6 to add pressure on this flank, and this would be a rather proactive approach for black. However, in this board, black would play r1 plus 1. Red would continue with r9 equals to 8, and black plays r1 equals to 2 on this end. Now it is imperative for black to make this move, otherwise if he play r1 equals to 4, r1 equals to 6, red will play c8 equals to 9, and if red were allowed to develop his left chariot, black will be in all sorts of trouble. Now, because red would have the option of playing, for example, r1 equals to 4, red would have the option of playing r8 plus 6 to attack this horse over here, and black would be in all sorts of trouble. c8 plus 1, very good move. It would also be the position of discussion for this board. Red would now try to dislodge or relieve some of the pressure from black's battery of material on this file. There are two main variations, the first of which would be c8 equals to 2, and the other will be a6 plus 5. Now, before we continue, at this point in time, it would be a mistake for black to try to continue applying pressure by playing c8 plus 2, because he will have wasted a move in the process, and red could play c8 equals to 7 to attack this flank. p7 plus 1 will threaten the horse, and also the elephant will be a target of attack. Let's say if black played r8 plus 3, red will use the cannon to capture the pawn and also still threaten the elephant, forcing him to move away, and red could continue his attack with r8 plus 8, preparing for r8 equals to 7, etc. to attack black's material on this flank. It is fairly obvious that red would have the advantage at this point in time. Another option will be r8 equals to 3, etc. So let us go to variation A. Black accepts the trade of material. After trading material, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Both colors would have the same amount of material, but black's horses are undeveloped. Red would have pushed both pawns forward. The horses are ready to go at any moment, and this would already already compromise a huge advantage for red. Now, black tries to move his chariot to the riverbank, hoping to trade pawns to allow for his horses to be developed. But red would be faster in attack. Now, from the standpoint of the efficiency of development of material, red had already mastered an advantage of 2 plies by pushing the pawns. At this point in time, this is a tightly knit attack, and black can only counter passively. One passive way of countering, or one way of trying to deal with the situation, would be to dislodge the black central cannon so that an elephant could be played to allow for some defense. Now, p7 plus 1 would be a bad idea because red will draw first blood by capturing the pawn. And if black continues p7 plus 1, capture, retreat, and red will immediately, having the material advantage, he will now try to switch his formation, and his material advantage will become very apparent slightly later on. Now, if p7 plus 1, let's say if instead of p7 plus 1, black tried to move his horse to safety, the central horse at this position will now become a major issue. Red will immediately sacrifice the pawn, preparing to charge the pawn across the river, and after capturing the central pawn, for example, this cannon will be pinning black's cannon and horse to the same file. Red will enjoy a huge advantage at this point in time. And there's always a threat of his iron bolt, and black can only will be forced to sacrifice material later on. But either way, this will be considered a winning position for red. So that is why c5 equals to 6 is much better than playing p7 plus 1. Red attacks, captures the pawn, attacks the horse, forcing black to move the elephant. And in this situation, red will immediately push the central pawn forward for another wave of attack. Red's entire position will come alive with this move. There's another extra option of developing the horses from the central file in conjunction with the attack on the central file. So black will usually be forced to counter with p7 plus 1, hoping to get his horse to the riverbank to counter red's horses in time. a6 plus 5 to consolidate the central file would be a bad idea. The horse will be linked. p5 plus 1 to attack. And again, red would threaten to gain material. If not, h6 plus 8 for the elbow horse would also be a huge threat. Black would have a hard time dealing with the situation. p5 plus 1, threatening the horse, forcing it back, capturing the pawn, and linking the horses up again. Now this is a very tightly knit move. The pawn cannot advance, otherwise it will be captured, and red's army will be pressing in, and victory will be in sight. So this would be variation A. Now let us go to variation B, a6 plus 5, whereby black tries to consolidate his defenses immediately, and as he searches for more opportunities instead of accepting the cannon exchange immediately. So red would have no qualms trading material, because now his relatively close chariot wouldn't be used to open up the situation. h7 plus 6 is not a good idea, because after trading material, red will play h8 plus 3, but now that because he had consolidated his central file, black would have diffused the situation on the board. After trading material, again we can see that red's both the red horses are ready to go, and red has a very powerful formation. h3 plus 4, red minus 2. Now this is an important move to make, because if he did not, red could play p3 plus 1, and also, even more importantly, go for h4 plus 6, hoping to try to go for the elbow horse attack. So black is forced to retreat. Red will capture material, try to trade pawns to free the horse. Red would attack preemptively with r8 plus 6. Now this is a commonly used tactical combination. c5 equals to 6. Black is forced to make this move. If he chose to play p3 plus 1, red will play h8 equals to 7. Let's say black tried to force a trade on material. Black will capture a pin. Red, by maneuvering the chariot over here, black hopes to capture the central pawn and trade the chariot. But red will have none of it, and he'll play h7 plus 6, preparing to gain material. Check. Threatening to checkmate. Trading chariots. And red would gain material. Now at this point in time, although black's cannon on the central file would appear to be very threatening, it is not so much a problem because it cannot retreat, otherwise the horse would capture it and red will win very easily. If it retreated, red could always counter with the central cannon. And in chariotless endgame situations, a material deficit will usually determine the game. So p3 plus 1 is not feasible. What about h3 plus 4? If h3 plus 4, p7 plus 1 to threaten to gain material, again you can see that this horse would have trouble developing. It cannot move here as the horse is guarding this point. If it captured, black would be more than happy. Red would be more than happy to trade material. So if let's say you traded, red could go h3 plus 5, threatening to go for the elbow horse, and red would have a winning position. So that is why c5 equals to 6. No matter how reluctant black was, hey, this would perhaps be the best option. But even so, red will attack, defend. Simple no-nonsense move. This is very steadfast. Another possible option would be to play p5 plus 1 for a relatively more complicated position. p3 plus 1, attack, and red will still have the offensive. Now this horse would also join in the attack, and they will spell a lot of trouble for black. The horse will also threaten to capture the pawn, and black would have his hands full trying to figure out whether to protect the pawns or push or etc. So red will still have the offensive. So p7 plus 1. After trading material, red has more pawns, more open pieces. The pawn has crossed the river. It will be an immediate threat that black cannot ignore, and he will have his hands full. There are many options for red to go, attacking this file, etc. etc. So red can be very satisfied with this outcome, even just by the 17th ply. So this will be today's bot, and it will also be the final bot in the opposite direction cannons chapter in dubious positions. So the main reason for black's downfall, if we were to trace back, will be this move r1 equals to 2, because it would have failed to diffuse the effects of red's double-headed snake pawns. Let us view this game from the eyes of black. Central cannon, left cannon blockade with deferred opposite direction cannons. Double-headed snake pawns, dubious move. Black must play this move since after he had played R1+1. C8+1 to defuse the situation, release some tension, and red will grow from strength to strength after here. C8 equals to move, variation A. Trade. Again, you can see black's pawns have not advanced, red's pawns have advanced, and he'll already enjoy a significant advantage. Alright, +3. This another efficient attack. C5 equals to 6. Black's best bet. Otherwise, red would have all sorts of tactical combinations to create trouble. Equals to 7. P5+1, attack from the central file. P7+1, P5+1, very aggressive, attacking the horse. And the horses will now attack from central file. Red's army will be pressing down, and black will be in all sorts of trouble. Variation B. R2 equals to 3. As black will consolidate, but red will be more than happy to trade material using a relatively close chariot to trade for black's open cannon and chariot. Oh, sorry, C8 plus R8 plus 5. Okay, after trading material, red's material is ready to go. Trade. R8 plus 6. Preemptive attack. C5 again. C5 equals to 6 will be black's best bet. P3+1, no good. Red gains material. H3+4, no good. Red will be attacking and gaining material. So C5 equals to 6 is black's best bet. Red equals to 7. Protect. P7+1. Simple, efficient, no nonsense. And red will have a powerful attack going on. The pawn crossing the river would spell a lot of trouble for this horse over here. And again, both the red horses are open and ready to go. So I hope you've enjoyed this board. As I mentioned earlier, this will be the last board in dubious positions that will be discussing the opposite direction cannons. I hope you enjoyed the work that I've been doing thus far. If you like it, please do subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you.